Go to TAPgiles.com to learn dreams, engage my services, and support the channel. Another one we can do is I want to be able to change the hue of the skin sort of thing. So like the skin color, and it'll just be kind of the colors of the rainbow, but you can do this however you want. But there's a couple of different ways of doing that. So the first way is, if you want set colors for this, then we'll probably want to use keyframes, and if we scope into the head and just set it to a different color. So if we put the tint amount to 200%, then set it to, let's just delete that, then set it to blue like it was. That will be the default color, and then we'll change it to red like that. And now while that keyframe is powered, so if we get a switch to test it, then if that keyframe is powered, the head is red. And then we could have that keyframe affect all the other body parts as well, but it just uses a lot of kind of invisible wires going to each of those objects. And if we have like 10 different keyframes with 10 different colors, that means it's 10 times all those wires. So a little tip for optimizing for wire count is to just change the head, and then the head will kind of propagate the color to the rest of the body. So first let's change that setting of tint amount to 200% for all of the body parts. So I've double tapped the pelvis, and then it's kind of looped through all the children objects to select them all. And then I can again change one of them, and then all of them will change. There we go. And then I can grab the tweak menu of the head and wire it into the neck. So we take the color there and we wire it into the neck color, and now that's got that. And then from the neck we can propagate that down to the chest like that, and the chest to the arms. And this is a trick Acert talked about. And finally the left toe. Cool. So now if I just go directly in here and change the color, you can see it's always propagating down the entire body. Cool. So now when we change it to red, the entire body is red. And we'll just have one other color for demonstration purposes. Okay, and if we use the switch on that, it'll be green. So red or green or blue is nothing. So you could have like many of these keyframes for many different colors if you wish to. You might even have more than the selector can handle. So you could do this choosing which color it is with a selector, but I'm going to show like a new way of doing it. And that will, the selector is limited to 10 modes like that. Whereas this other method isn't limited to a number of choices you have. So I'm going to add a timeline, and we're going to use a trick where you can wire a percentage, such as from a value slider or something else, into the playhead like that. And now if I send it different percentages, it will be at different spots on the timeline, and wherever the playhead is, those gadgets will power. So if I put I'll just color these actually. Okay, so that's the red one. That's the green one. And the green one will be over here. Red one will be over here. So if it's sent a percentage that is over that red one, then the puppet will be red. And if you put it over here, it will be green. So we want to be able to kind of pinpoint where along this it will be, and be able to kind of increment along and go backwards and so on, so the player can choose. So if we click X on clock time, it will turn into beats. and that will give us nice columns to work with. And I also like to tweak the timeline and change the meter numerator to 1, and now you have a number per column, and it's nice and easy to reference. So let's put the red over at 1 and the green over at 2, or let's just move these along like that. So we have 3 slots. So we want to have like a 0 value and a 1/3 value and a 2/3 value, and that will give us all the numbers we need. So first I'll demonstrate how to use like a selector to control this, which will kind of give us the looping stuff for free as well. So we copy a selector and it has 3 of these options. Then we can, let's have up and down change this one. So up will go next, and down will go previous. And then let's just double check what we're getting from this active port thing down here. That's been displayed over there. And then if I make that remote controllable, up and down, and it loops around and gives us those values between 0 and 2. So like all the way over here will be 0, so let's actually use X to drag out the first column, and then we can move those along, and now we have 0, 1 and 2. So we want it to be out of 3 because there's 3 options. So if we divide that by 3 with a calculator, wire that in there, divide by 3, we can wire that into the playhead. So now if I pin that to the screen and I use up, 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 so now it's going to like the beginning of each column, and down will kind of loop around. And if we look at the colours are changing with it. So that's spot on. We want to be able to have as many of these colours as we want and have it looping. So I'll use a counter instead. So this is limited to 10 and this counter is limited to nothing. You can have as many as you want. So if we just pretend this was 12, so it's got 0 through 11. And I'll just add some more colours, I guess. I'll copy those out with the multi-clone. Okay, and while I'm editing one of these keyframes, I can go L1 and left and L1 and right, and it will go along the keyframes on that row. So I'll just pick random colours. We've already got red. I'll have like a light one. I'll do. So now this has 12 slots, so let's put this target value to 12. And it actually has an output for count progress, which is a percentage of the way through this is. So if we wire that into the displayer and make it show more decimal places. So as we increase this, it gives us the percentage along. So like if this was on 6, that's halfway through 12. So we get 50% coming out of it. Cool, and now we can wire that into here. Down, but we're not controlling the thing yet, so let's wire that into there. So it's going between the columns. Some of these keyframes aren't properly lined up though, and that can happen if you multi-clone them out. So if you find ones that aren't activating, or there can be spaces where 2 of them are activating, then you can just find that and pause, and then just like tap it with R2 and it will kind of lock back to the column. So that means this one, it was like slightly too long, so then you grab this edge and then that will snap to the column as well. Okay, so now they're all separate and it's always highlighting one of them.
Thanks for watching. I hope you learned something interesting. Go to patreon.com/TAPgiles to learn something new every day.